get into that second guitar riff, it cuts off. I think the timing on that is just a little bit different. How are you guys doing tonight? Hello. Welcome to another edition of the Big 12 Mafia Show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me are my partners in everything we do here, and guys that I'm counting as brothers in real life. That would be Wild Ute and Moen. How you guys doing tonight?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm the black sheep, brother. I just want to call that right now.
Well, you certainly don't live by us, if that counts at all. The proximity leads to other things. So anyway, I appreciate everybody watching us tonight. We know we got busy times during the week anymore, certainly during the season. So we appreciate all of you taking the time to be here. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. And we do a lot of good things with those membership contributions. We put together huge productions and displays and a lot of good extra content that goes to members only. That's something I wanted to highlight to start the show tonight. Ute, kind of tell everybody how that Wild Ute University stuff works.
Oh, yeah. Wild Ute University is the only known data-based multiplier for like a matrix model to determine realignment candidates. When we get down to it, where does a realignment candidate fit? Are they in the SEC, Big 12, Big 10? Where do they stack rank up? And we use data-based information, and we put it in a model and score it compared to other teams in that conference to see where they shake out. And if the team is above the median, usually a pretty good candidate for the conference. And if they're below medium, they're a little bit more of a stretchy candidate for a conference too. So the most recent series is the SEC series. We've got a couple of videos up: Florida State, UNC, Clemson right now, all good ones. And KU, of course, KU to the SEC, interesting case study and everything. So it's almost like a more of an academic type of approach to realignment where I thought just throwing crap out, trying to get it to stick against the wall. I'll be honest though, sometimes even the video, the data will present its case, but I won't agree all the time with it. Just like with UConn, the data said it's a go, absolutely, slam dunk. But really, there's more into it too. You have to use your mind to see like, hey, strategic directions and everything. So sometimes you can go a different direction.
And isn't it true, and we learned this over the last 2 years, certainly, that data by itself without context almost means nothing, right?
Absolutely.
Just having numbers, just looking at a spreadsheet like some people have done in the past that we don't do. By adding context, by building a story around it, people can really understand what that stuff means, right?
Absolutely. You need both of them. You need to use your reasoning and the data-based approach. You don't want to use just one or the other. You need them both to make a good decision. I mean, that's actually for life too. Like it's smart to use data-based information too when you're making any difficult decision. It's no different in the realignment world when the presidents need to make a decision on a college, right? So we're applying those metrics and everything. So take a look at them if you haven't seen them.
I love it. Well, thank you very much for giving that summary. I know a lot of time we don't take the time to talk about the member videos that we do, but that is something we really take and appreciate here. Again, make sure you're following us all on Twitter. Don't let that go. We've all got our Twitter names underneath our pictures right now. Make sure you're following us, subscribe again on YouTube, and then turn on your notifications. A lot of people, they ask me, how do I know when you're on? Well, if you have your notifications on YouTube, on Twitter, we do our updates there. So we're very welcome to have any new people that are here today. If you're new, think about giving us a thumbs up, leave us a comment or a question, and get involved. That's what we do here. We're not here for ourselves. We're here for you guys. Anyway, let's summarize this week. Let's jump into week 2. We're officially into the third week of the season, but we're just calling it week 2. So, Moen, I'm going to start with you. You're back east. You see a lot of different football games than we do necessarily, different contexts certainly around the games you're watching. What are some of the things that stood out to you this weekend?
Well, I watched most of the Big Ten games. I didn't get a chance to catch the Maryland-Michigan State one yet. I've got that on my recorded video library and YouTube TV. I did record the Notre Dame game as well. I've watched the replay on that twice. I've enjoyed that.
And is
thoroughly.
that in glorification? Is that why you've watched it twice?
Yes,
okay.
That's in glorification.
Okay.
All hail the Northern Illinois team. Somebody on chat, Mr. Ed Wayner on chat, Twitter yesterday sent me a thing about it, and I told him if I'm ever in a bar and there's a coach or player from that NIU team, they ain't paying for a drink. All coming out of my pocket.
I completely agree with you. I mean, and if you listen to his pregame and postgame speeches, he's really inspirational as well.
Yeah, he loves those kids. He loves that job.
Yep, completely agree. All right, Ute, how about
NIU.
you?
NIU. The Huskies beating the Golden Domers after their big win at A&M, and it was just a lock for the playoff and stuff for Notre Dame. Hey, this changes a lot when you lose to Northern or NIU. It's tough, to get in there, get a bid later on in the season. So we'll see what happens with Notre Dame. I don't know if they can afford to lose another game and get in the playoff with this loss.
That's fair. I think that's a fair assessment.
And so that's actually a big win for the Big 12 and the ACC. Like getting Notre Dame out of the playoff picture with another loss, maybe two other losses. Yeah, that's big time because all of a sudden you can maybe sneak two teams in. So it was actually a mammoth day for the Big 12. Here's the trend line, though. A lot of big wins Friday night, early Saturday, and then a bunch of stinkers Saturday night, unfortunately, for Big 12.
That Kansas game was so frustrating.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, and then also another team to highlight, Nebraska. Nebraska deserves kudos, too. We know that Colorado's not the greatest team and everything, but the way that they played bully ball and they just punked Colorado, give them kudos. They're a different team. Rayola's a different quarterback. It's a different Nebraska era, and, they're going to make some noise in the Big Ten.
Do you guys think, and let's jump to Colorado right now, we all know they're a ratings titan. Again, they get millions and millions of views. That Nebraska game was actually a pretty good game in the first half until Colorado quit. But what do you guys think about Colorado by itself? I mean, at least I have. I'm not going to speak for you guys. Since he got the job, I said he was there for 2 years and he was going to be gone. Didn't have anything to do with win-loss record or anything else. His kids will be out of the system. They'll be playing NFL ball or whatever, and that includes Travis Hunter. Now, what do we really think? Is it possible he gets forced out?
No way. He's not getting forced out just because of the ratings, all the attention on the Buffs. Okay. There's no way Deion gets forced out of there. But, it's all about results. And when we think about Colorado, we got to think about the results. Over the last 2 seasons thus far, there's 5 wins for that Buff program and 9 losses, right? 9 losses. So, the results are not speaking for themselves. The talent pool is basically like having 2 or 3 Ferraris and then just complete junkers after that, right?
Right.
Like in a yard, like in an auto yard or something. So it's really difficult to see how Colorado improves things in the future. That's one of the concerns is okay, once Shedora leaves, once Travis Hunter leaves, what does Deion have?
Nothing.
He's got all the junk still, right? It's not getting better. This is about the best it's going to get unless something changes with high school recruiting. So it's not looking good right now. The trend is not looking good. It looks like it's on a declining slope. But we'll see if he can turn it around. He needs to turn recruiting around, high school recruiting, not transfer portal recruiting, build the base with high school recruiting. But really, once he loses Hunter and Sanders, Colorado is in a world of hurt. They already are this year. Just breaking with 6 wins is going to be tough for that team this year.
That's the next question and we'll talk about the CU game or CSU game in a bit, but how many games do you think this Colorado team wins this year? I had them at 4 or 5. A lot of people had them at 7 or 8 or 7. Joe Klatt had them challenging for the championships, for heaven's sake.
Well, yeah.
Do they win more than 4 games? They've already got 1, but if you look at their schedule, who in the Big 12 are they going to beat?
And they've got one of the toughest Big 12 schedules.
They do. They do have a tough schedule. I don't know. We don't have to dwell on Colorado. That's one of those ones that's polarizing, a lot of people paying attention, just like Notre Dame, which is what Moen brought up. The only thing I would bring up and circle back to is the Kansas game. That was extremely disappointing. If they had won, the Big 12 would have 6 or 7 teams in the top 25. That would have been massive, right? And then this week could be a train wreck. There's all these away games. BYU playing at Wyoming. Let's see. Oklahoma State is playing Sisterhood of the Poor. All these schools are playing out to these FCS and other, G5 programs. If the Big 12 loses 3 or 4 of those things, what's it going to do to the whole conference can be deflated.
It could be. Yeah, it's looking at the non-conference slate, the Iowa State win was big.
It was.
Talk more about that.
Yep.
There's been some disappointing defeats too, right? That West Virginia game was a big one. First Penn State week 1, and then this KU game too. But then you got the Iowa State win, and you get some other wins. Like Arkansas did go down to Oklahoma State. It was a battle and stuff, but the Pokes got out of it.
They tried to give it away. Yeah, for sure.
Houston almost beats Oklahoma, so there's some good bright spots too. And speaking of that, do you guys want to get into the breakout now of like the grading? This is a new thing.
Yeah, let's do shout outs first, Ute. Is that okay?
Yeah, and I want to jump out there. There were some low spots too that Kansas State struggled against Tulane.
Yes.
Cincinnati gave up a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Brutal. That was brutal.
So highs and lows for the Big 12 this week.
Right.
Completely agree. All right, let's do shout-outs, and then we're going to go to Ute's analysis, which I'm really looking forward to. So we start off with Ryan Willie, first in the house. Hi, College Football Mafia. Good to see you, Ryan. Thank you so much for being here. Stormy Cyclone. Hello, isn't college football great until you lose?
You haven't yet.
Are we back at the time now where one loss and you're out of the CFB? I don't know. Well, we'll talk about that later in the season. We'll get into that. Joaquin Morales, one of the best guys out here, best cheerleaders in the house, Arizona State alum. Hey, Bomber, Wild Ute Moen, College Football Mafia family. I'm gassed today. Going to listen later, just checking in to smash that like button. And how about them Sun Devils? Arizona State, impressed. I will say that. Absolutely. They played really well. Antoine Code says, hey, everyone. Thank you very much, Antoine. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through these. Cleveland Rock says, good evening, gentlemen. Guarantee that the Wildcats will win this Friday. Who is Kansas State playing again? I can't remember.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he's right, because the Arizona Wildcats versus the Kansas State Wildcats.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there you go.
That's
Wildcats are going to win. Gotcha. Mr. Ed Wayner, good to have you here, Ed. Says hello from San Marcos. Big game here tomorrow night, Arizona State versus Texas State. If Arizona State drops that game, that's not good. UTSA.
Why are you playing a Thursday night game at Texas State, Arizona State?
Why is BYU playing at Wyoming? Why do they do these road games? Nobody else
Why
does.
Why are you playing a Thursday night? That's crazy to travel on a Thursday night versus one of the best FCS teams.
That's brutal.
I hate it.
Kenneth Evans says TCU going to give Central Florida a class in ass kicking on Saturday. I don't know. It's hard to win in UCF land. Illini Ted says, hey guys, NIU coach and Bert are good friends. Both has big wins. Who's Bert?
Bert is Brett Bielema at Illinois.
Oh, okay.
We call him Bert.
Gotcha. All right. Amelia Islanol. That would be Ilanol. She corrected me. Thanks for being here, Amelia. We're still not sure if I'm going to do a show tomorrow night, but I appreciate you helping us out. Certainly being a contributor. That's really cool. Thank you for being here. She's also a member, by the way. Most of these people are members. It's pretty fantastic. Keep chopping. Best part of Notre Dame game was how dirty the refs were. NIU beat ND, Notre Dame, and the refs.
Yep.
Okay. BR 7062. Good to see you, BR. Another wild week in the Big 12. I think that's going to be every week, BR. I don't think we have to keep saying that. Skaven, yes, says, hello, gentlemen. GBR, what's that?
Go Big Red.
Go Big Red. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Kenneth Evans, Jayhawks are not even real birds. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. How do you explain this, Kenneth?
It sounds like a crow to me.
That's a Jayhawk.
CU will beat Baylor. Okay. And one last thing. Kenneth Evans says CU will beat Tech. So he's picking two wins.
Maybe Tech.
All right. Colorado what do we got here, Moen? What's this, Moen?
We've been gifted five gifted memberships to the College Football Mafia family by Ricky Tungate. Those went to Tyler Stimson, Hidden Hawaiian, Big Ten Fan, Mr. Ed Wayner, and Buckshot Kid. If y'all are in the chat, make sure you thank Ricky for his continued support of the College Football Mafia. And if you're watching on demand, make sure you thank him in the comments. I'm sure he would appreciate that. Ricky, let's give you a little sound bites here. We'll let you cook.
Yes.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let
him cook. Absolutely. And if you received a membership, please consider maybe paying that forward, giving one to somebody else. That's why we talked about the show at the beginning of the show. We talked about Wild Ute University videos. We do whole shows only to members. Lots of content that just goes to members. So if you receive a gift, consider paying that forward and giving one to somebody else.
You know what? We're going to do that right now.
Karma pays people back. I know that for a fact.
We're going to pay it forward for Ricky's donation with free
Holy
5 gifted
cow.
memberships to the College Football Mafia family.
There we go. So we're
Those
giving out
went
5
to
of them.
Nate Simons, Jay Chapman, Grand Dan, Rob Devick, and Don Scruggs. Congratulations,
Cheers.
gentlemen. You are now full-blooded
Welcome.
members of the College Football Mafia family.
Absolutely. If you got those memberships, make sure to thank Moen for putting them up there. We appreciate you guys being here, becoming new members after the show. Don't go watch the political debate. That's a bunch of garbage. Just go and watch some of the Wild Ute University videos.
That's right.
All right. Let's
right.
get out of this. Okay, so Wild Ute, here we go. I'm going to
Here
turn
we
the
go.
table over to you. You go ahead and go on top here and tell everybody what this presentation is all about.
Yeah, here's the thing: is like going forward, want to look at the actual performance of the Big 12 teams per week. And the way that we're going to look at this isn't just simply based on wins and losses. If you blew the game at the end or whatever, the disappointing losses. The way we're going to look at this is based on the analytical side. Okay, so we're going to look at before the game starts, what's the point spread? What does Vegas think? How much better does Vegas think your team is versus the other team? And how many total points are going to be scored? Because basically every week Vegas gives you what's known as an implied score. It's a score that they think that is going to be generated based on betting trends, okay? The implied score and the implied spread of a game before it starts. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the implied score, implied spread, and versus the actual results to see who actually underperformed and overperformed, okay?
Okay.
This will give you a good idea of really like where we need to calibrate expectations going forward. All right?
Yeah, do it.
All right, so here's the performance grades. We're going to grade out the performance for the Big 12 teams here. So, all right, here we go. And we're going to grade this out A through F, just like you'd get in grade school. We're going to give minuses and pluses where they're deserved. And I'm a pretty difficult grader, y'all, so I don't give out just A's for anything, right? And like we're looking at the data, there's a little bit of subjectivity into. We're got to make a call on it. But here we go. All right. Bomber. What is that logo right there? That's your boys.
It is, yes. BYU. Absolutely.
So BYU's win over SMU warrants an A- grade and the only A grade in the Big 12 over week 2. And the reason for that, and that's in the excellent tier, obviously an A or A- is excellent, is because of really what Vegas was saying about the game. The implied score that Vegas, the betting was based on in Vegas, was SMU 33, BYU 23. It was a 10-point spread, 33-23. That was the implied score. BYU won 18-15. So holding SMU from 33 implied points, like they were supposed to score, to 15, big win. Obviously, BYU's offense was just a little bit underperforming too, but the defense played so dang good. Getting the win warrants an A- grade, best grade for the Big 12 all weekend. So
BYU's defense is for real. That's all I got to say. They just need to get a quarterback to come along, get the ball to the skill positions, and they can be dangerous. This is the team that I thought we'd see last year, frankly. So it took us a year to get here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so 2-0 for the Cougars and stuff. Kudos on the performance, the best performance out of a Big 12 team in week 2 based on the implied probabilities. Okay, so let's go. We're going to get to more bunch teams, right, in the B and C in categories, okay? So just get ready here. All right, so lots of grades here thrown out in the B category. So B is above average. A C is going to be average performance. So a C would get you, based on this exercise, whatever Vegas says is like the implied score and spread. If you did that exactly perfect, you'd get a C because that's exactly average, what you're expected to get. All right, so who performed better than average? The Cougars, Houston Cougars.
They did.
Look, they lost, right? But they gave Oklahoma a freaking game. They should be proud of that performance. Vegas had them getting absolutely blown to bits, blown out. Big point spread. Nope, did not happen. Cougars repped. They played well. B+ grade. So Iowa State, B+ grade versus Iowa. That point spread was crazy, guys. It was actually a 1-point spread for Iowa instead of Iowa State.
Wow.
It was basically the exact same point total that was scored. It was like right on the money. But Iowa State gets the win, right?
Yep.
And like Iowa State gets it, so they get a B+ grade. And TCU, the way they blew out the FCS team they played, B+ grade. I know that one hasn't been talked about a lot, but TCU put up way more points than expected. They shut out the team. So played really well and stuff compared to the expectation. And now we're getting into the Bs and then the B- categories and the Cs and et cetera. So the Sun Devils, give them a B grade. Really good performance there. Big win versus Mississippi State. They were expected to win, though, guys. The Sun Devils were expected to win. We might not have expected that ourselves because we've seen them lose a lot of games. But the betting markets thought they would win. They got it done. They get a B because that was the expectation, and they slightly exceeded it. Okay? All right, UCF, B grade. And then let's go to OSU, B- grade based on barely skating by Arkansas. I mean, they got the win and everything. But really, it was right there. Man, this is almost like a C+ tier for the performance for the Pokes. But the fact that they got the win over an SEC opponent gave them a little bit of a benefit. B- grade. So, Pokes, you did it. Above average still. Good for you.
I have to take exception with this, Ute. The only way Oklahoma State covered that spread was effectively getting it to double overtime.
Yes.
Getting a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
Yes.
They don't pass the eyeball test. They were down by 14 in the first half. I am disputing this B-. They should be a C team.
Oh, wow.
You know what? Okay, I'll give you that, Moan. And I was thinking C+ or B- for the Pokes. I mean, it's an SEC opponent. They got it done. They came back. There is some subjectivity with this, right?
Yes,
it's not all perfect and everything. Yeah. I think that based on them getting the win when they were trailing so deep and everything, I think it warrants an above average performance, B- range, right? Like it's not like way exceeds. We're not talking like A+ territory. We're talking a B- here.
Let me ask just an open question. I don't know if this will answer kind of what your concern is, Moen, but in week 11, if OSU only has one loss to Utah, is anybody going to remember they struggled with an Arkansas team? I don't think they will.
I will remember. I lost money on it.
Oh yeah,
well, I lost money on it basically because it went to double overtime where you have to go for a 2-point conversion.
I understand you, right? What you're saying is valid. I'm recognizing your concern and everything else, but I'm talking about just perception level for the Big 12. Anybody going to remember Iowa State only won by whatever? Houston almost beat. None of that stuff's going to be memorable because at the end of the season, all you're going to look at is what's the final result.
That's all right, fine, Moan. So we're going on a weekly average. It's a C.
Okay.
So Moan, okay, the implied score to that game was Arkansas 28, Oklahoma State 35. That was the implied betting market score. 7 points. They won by 8 points. It was in double overtime. It was so dang close to what they were supposed to perform at. I don't know. You could go C+, you can go B-, you can go C. I get it. Like and stuff.
Right.
It's still an SEC opponent.
I'm just saying those Vegas odds are based on 4 quarters, not 6.
So Moan's disagreeing here with the Pokes, but hey, look, they're a B- here. The Wild University list. So
it's up to the professor to give grades.
The
professor gives final grades.
Maybe the professor has a little too much love for the Pokes. I don't know.
That's all
now
right.
Let's go to the average performers, okay? And then we're going to reprimand some teams too, all right? All right, so here's the average performers. So West Virginia, I've seen a lot on social media. The Mountaineer Nation is not pleased with the performance here. They played an FCS opponent. They beat them handily, but there were some turnovers, and it just wasn't very clean. It was right on schedule, though, point spread-wise, scoring-wise, of what Vegas thought. So really average performance, guys. Like it wasn't anything exceptional. It wasn't horrible. A C performance, okay? So then we get to the C-, and this is like a little bit, we're looking at a little below average now. Not large, but a little bit. And there's a lot of C- handed out here. Baylor got a C-. Look, if Baylor would have beat Utah, this would have lifted a lot and everything.
That would have been huge. Yep.
Yeah, they ate the loss. They outperformed the spread, the point spread for a lot of reasons and stuff. But based on the end of the day and stuff, Baylor kept that game closer than a lot of the betting markets thought. and there's reasons for it and stuff, but Baylor's still stuck in the game in the second half. C- grade for the Bears.
I would actually say I think Baylor played better. The first half was horrible, but the second half, they were actually in that game. So I think they should have been rated like a B-.
Well, there we go. There is everyone has a little bit different perception here, and maybe if they would have got the win, maybe that would have been a little bit more of a benefit and the like. But
absolutely, yep.
Baylor gets a C- based on the dean's grade here. So okay, then we're getting to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati failed the eye test. They blew a huge lead and everything, and most folks would just say, "Oh, they get an F," right? They flunked.
Yes.
Flunked.
Yes.
Look, Pitt came back. They won that game. But based on really where the probabilities were, the implied scores and everything, Cincinnati is basically right in line with what that was supposed to be. They barely lost, but it was right there. It's supposed to be. It was like a 1-point line, guys, for Cincinnati. It was right there. It's supposed to be a close game. So while they lost in a hard, difficult fashion at the end of the day, it didn't shake out that much differently than the betting markets thought it would. C-. Okay? And now we get to some of the biggest contenders here with K-State and Utah. Both of them disappointing for different reasons. K-State just first half played horrible football. In the first half, they turned it on. In the second half, Avery Johnson kind of got going, but he didn't look great. Got a turnover to switch it up versus Tulane and everything. They got the win, but they did not beat what the spread predicted. They underperformed. And largely, a lot of Cat fans were a bit disappointed with the whole performance. Hear a lot of that stuff. So I wasn't too impressed. Below average, C- for the Cats. And then we get to the Utes. The Utes were on pace to get an A performance in the first quarter. An A performance. And then Cam Rising did what he does so often and decides to run. He took a really stupid hit, unnecessary hit. He slowed down a lot. I mean, he does not have the speed that he once does because of the injuries. He got pushed into the sideline. He hurt his hand. Nobody knows if it's just a deep laceration on that throwing hand or if it's a broken finger. Nobody knows if he's playing versus Utah State or Oklahoma State. There's uncertainty just like last year. Once Rising's out, the Superman capes off. Utah turns into a more average level Big 12 team from a national championship competing team. And the way that they just got beat down by Baylor in the second half, the defense, they didn't score in the second half.
Yep.
Baylor scored some points. Baylor won the second half, but Utah had such a big lead that they won the game still over by 10 points. But overall, the Rising hit just makes this a C- performance. You can't take the hit if you're Rising. It's disappointing. Should have been by a huge margin. It was by 11 points, C-.
It's in his DNA. He simply can't. Kyle tells him, don't run. Fall on the ground. I don't want you to take one single hit. And he goes out there and his head, go. He can't slow down, right? So, Which is admirable. That's an admirable quality. There's nothing wrong with that. But as we talked about for the last 2 years, if he's out, Utah is, like you said, a top of the Big 12, but certainly not an elite team as far as the conference goes. And I don't know why that is. What's Ludwig got? He's got it bewitched that they can only do it with Cam Rising. Can't do it with anybody else. I'm so confused about that.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, it's Cam Rising to this team, to this Utah team. He is the Michael Jordan of the Utah team.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cam Rising, anything like that, or for overall the national media landscape. But to this Utah team, he's everything. If Michael would have gone down for the Bulls teams in the past, it's just over, right?
Yep.
You just lose heart.
Yeah.
He brings so much leadership. He brings so much fire and stuff. This Ute team absolutely needs him if they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to win 10-plus games this year. That's completely on the table with Rising. They're looking at about 8 wins probably without him.
Okay.
So it's a big difference. So C- for the Utes. All right, guys. We're going to get to the D performers here. Below average performance here. And first off, Arizona.
Yeah. Was not impressed at all.
Arizona, guys. Northern Arizona had them.
Yes, they should have won. Yeah.
Seriously,
yes.
Fita didn't have a great game. Like, McMillan got shut down, basically. Yes. I don't know what they were doing, what defense they were playing. Arizona is a 2-player team. You shut down McMillan, you can beat them, and they might hemorrhage a bunch of losses. We'll find out on Friday night versus K-State.
Yes, we will.
Yep. But if you shut down McMillan, man, like that team is going to hurt. They're going to struggle. They did not impress at all. They haven't impressed all year. D+ for them. If they would have lost, it would have been a clear flunk. But they got the win, so D+. And then we're getting to probably the most 3 disappointing teams, right? Based on expectations, based on applied probabilities, spreads, and everything else. The Jayhawks. Oh, man, the Jayhawks. This one really hurts. And like Illini, Ted, kudos to you and your team. You played freaking physical. You got it done. Really good win and stuff. So happy for you, sad for the Big 12. Here, let's applied probability here. Kansas was supposed to score 31 points, okay, based on the betting markets, and Illinois is supposed to score 25 points. It's supposed to be 31-25. That was what the betting market said at the end of the day, and it ended up being 17-23. Okay, so Illinois basically scored what they were supposed to. Okay. But Kansas was considerably less, and the problem is like they're not as offensively explosive as thought.
Jalen Daniels, he's not doing the performance we were expecting, certainly.
Yeah, exactly. So D grade for KU. They could have got it done, lifted that grade up to a C level, but the fact that they lost and everything when they had opportunities to win and the offense just didn't look good. I've got concerns about this Kansas team. They could be had in the running game. And like they're going to be playing some tough teams. Like a lot of folks had them pitted for the Big 12 championship. I do not think that's in the cards for either Arizona or Kansas.
I agree with that. Yep.
I have to stand up for Illinois here. I know Kansas underperformed, but Illinois, Burt Bielema has put together really good defenses with 2- and 3-star talent. I mean, like Devin Witherspoon, first-round draft pick.
Right.
That defense for Illinois was on point in that game.
Obviously they're playing against somebody. It's not in a vacuum. Yeah.
That's not the most talented defense they're going to see this year.
I think BYU.
I think so.
I think BYU is going to beat them when they come.
I think Illinois is going to surprise some people. We'll see when Illinois plays Nebraska in a few weeks.
Yes. Okay, and then the D- teams here.
Jeez.
Okay, so I was considering flunking, but maybe I should have flunked these guys, honestly.
I would have flunked them both.
Nobody flunked this week, but these two were close. And the one, like Texas Tech, I don't know what the freak's going on up there. Taj Boyd was at that game, but you get blown out by Wazoo. Week 1 was barely skated by. Like the only good thing for Texas Tech is they haven't had a conference loss yet. So they're technically in the running, but it has been an atrocious out of conference so far. And that way that they just got beat down by Wazoo. And the betting markets had thought that was going to be a pretty close game. It was not. Tech struggled. D-, and then we get to the Buffaloes. And the Buffaloes, okay, Shedeur Sanders, we talked about it before. Talent with Hunter and Shedeur, with Horn. They've got 3 or 4 good players, and they just got nothing else. Nebraska pounded them. Raiola looked really good.
Yes, he did.
Mini Mahomes, right?
Yep.
And like Colorado on that big stage, just disappointed. Shedeur Sanders leaving before the game is over is disappointing. Shedeur Sanders' comments about the offensive line plays disappointing. Just disappointments all over the place. It's about results with the bus, and they're not getting the results. Very disappointing. Probably should be a flunk for them. D-.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying there. I would have flunked both of those schools. I'm a fan of Texas Tech. I think the people are cool. I think they got a great stadium. Everything that, especially BYU fans, absolutely really appreciate Texas Tech. We're all scratching our heads too. Like, what is going on? Colorado has dug their own grave. They did this to themselves. They put their hand up and said, look at us. And now they're getting everything they asked for. And I think this season could be one of the worst we've seen from top to bottom from a team that people thought would threaten for the tournament this year. It's insane.
It sure is. And that is the performance grading for the week 2 for the Big 12 conference. We'll continue this if that's something folks want to see more of. Just fun to put together. Let's do it. Let's keep doing it.
If you want to see me disagree with you more, please, we'll continue to do this. Kansas should have been a C grade. The Texas Tech and Colorado should be an F.
Okay.
I'm with you on the F. Like Colorado, it's you know what? That was too aggressive of grade. I'm flunking them next time.
There we go. There we go. We did get a couple super chats in there. Thank you so much. Cleveland Rocks gave us one who's also a member, which is super cool. Sorry, this is mixing me up. I got to move. Tulane is a very good team. Beat USC in the bowl game last year. I think it was 2 years ago now. Finished in the top 25 and will be ranked this year too. Give K-State some love. I think that Tulane game was, I mean, outside of it being like on needle's edge for a Big 12 fan, it was entertaining. I mean, it was punch for punch. Tulane looked like they had the thing won. Kansas State came back and caught up to them. I thought it was a fun game to watch.
K-State was supposed to win by 11 points and hold Tulane to less than 20. It didn't turn out like that. It was a close game. K-State had a comeback and everything. Look, this is just strictly based on results and not really the flow of the game. Like Moan said, if a game goes into overtime, it can flip things and everything. I'm just looking like at the results based on like pregame expectations versus results. That's what we're doing here. And then adding a little nuance in between. So everyone's going to have a different take. And the win's a win. You got the win. K-State's got the win. They're undefeated. Everything's on the table. Every single thing's on the table for the Utes, for the Cats, for the Pokes.
Absolutely.
And for you. Yeah, and for the Central Florida. Central Florida look good.
Moen, what do you think about this game, this K-State Tulane game?
That was a close game. Tulane, we're going to see if they're for real. They got to play Oklahoma this week. And Oklahoma just struggled against Houston, which I think we can all agree was the worst team in the Big 12 prior to this week.
Oh, absolutely. They looked
Houston
like a high school
worst,
team.
And they held Oklahoma 16-12.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma pulled out a little bit at the end of that game.
I don't know what happened. What's going on with Oklahoma? I don't. I got to talk to Jason and see if he can give me some diagnosis of what's going on down there. Stormy Cyclone, another $5 super chat, who's also a member. Thank you, Stormy. We really appreciate it very much. Moen, why don't you give them both a sounder? What do we got in there for these two?
Yeah, let's do, since we're talking about Colorado, we'll do student athletes.
All right.
Brilliant,
And since we're talking about football, we'll give them a Keith Jackson.
That's good. That's still not the one I like. There's better Keith Jackson sounders. We'll have to find them.
They're hard to find online.
I'm sure that's true. Harvesting soon. Keep the lights on. I will still listen in. Or harvest starting soon. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stormy. We appreciate it. Certainly, you listening when we're on, we really, really appreciate it. And $5 super chats, very, very appreciated. So thank you very much. Helping us keep this thing going. Really appreciate it.
Please be safe on your harvest, Stormy.
All right, we're going to work backwards through comments so we can get to some of the ones that you directly reflect some of the stuff you were talking about.
Okay.
So Shonsky, who's also a member, says the way this season is playing out, I see 7 SEC teams, Notre Dame, G5, and the other conference champs. All conferences have to be better. Penn State and Oregon are not top 10. Pathetic wins. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead.
Look, a win's a win is a win. They were ugly wins, but they were wins. So you had to give them that. I think Northern Illinois taught us that probably the best G5 conference in the country is the MAC. So stay tuned for MACtion.
Well, you keep saying that, but Boise State is a fantastic team.
Yeah, except they have no defense or a special teams coach.
They should have beat Oregon.
Well, they should have, but they let a kick return for a touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown.
Oregon's talent level is up here. Boise State's way down here.
Yeah, I didn't see any MAC teams giving up 102-yard kick returns or 80-plus yard punt returns.
All righty. That's fair. That's a fair assessment. Illini Ted, thank you for being here, Ted. We appreciate it. I get the bag talks, but, man, how do you go to that train wreck in Boulder?
They lied to them, told them that they were going to be all NFL prospects underneath Deion Sanders' system. I think we've learned anything in college football over the last 2 years is you can't build a team exclusively from the portal.
Nope.
And from Dabo Swinney's side, you can't build a team without using the portal now. You have to have a give and take there.
100%. It's just like the NFL. Just like the NFL free agency, you fill gaps with it, but you don't build the foundation with it. with the portal. And Colorado needs to learn that, and so does Clemson. You nailed them out.
I would say this, and in the off season, I've come up with a formula I think that would work, a fine mix between high school players, elite high school players, 3 to 5 star, elite is 5, and then a mix with transfer portal, and they're for specific roles, like a tackle, a weak side tackle, a quarterback, maybe a running back or a receiver. And you pay big bucks for those individual places. Everybody else you build through the system. And I think I want to do this as a project in the offseason. I want to work through every position on a team and say, if you're going to build this from which is more important, you could put a guard in the middle and have them sort of protected, but a tackle's out and on an island, right? So I think each position has a weight. And for instance, BYU, in my opinion, they should pay $1.5 million for the best coordinator they can get to come in, and then they need to write another check for $1.5 million for some portal quarterback, then build and recruit a 4 or 5 star behind them, similar to what Utah has done with Cam and bringing in Isaac. I think that's a good formula. I like it, and I think you can continue. It propagates itself. I think that is sustainable.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think largely you want to build the foundation, like the trench play, so like the defensive and offensive line play.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Build that in recruiting.
Yep.
Maybe you get a tackle here and there if they become available. They're really hard to get in the portal, but quarterback is the portal position. That can change your team, and you go to the portal, just like you said, Bomber, and then you try to build the rest of the foundation, maybe like a skill position. It's almost like you go to the skill position players for the portal, but you build the trench play through recruiting.
Well, it's the core of your team anyway. We both know that, right? Offense and defensive line, it's where everything comes and starts. So anyway, we'll get into that in the offseason. I'm looking forward to that project. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll engage with you guys. We'll have you put in your opinions in there as well. RockChalk94 says, lol. I'm not sure what that was in term of, but I marked it. Timothy Green, it's good to see you, Timothy. I hope you're feeling well. What quarterback on national TV throws his entire offensive line under the bus? Oh, it would be Sanders from Colorado. You would think he would have more integrity towards football. Integrity is a very, very difficult word. I think he's true to himself. Does that count as integrity?
This is stupid on his part. He's got to play behind that offensive line the rest of the season. Who's to say that they maybe miss a block and let a big defensive tackle, 325-pound defensive tackle, just lay into him?
Yes.
There's problems, right? There's problems on this Colorado team. What's said out there, it's concerning, and the results are not proving it out. That's fine. You can say whatever you want. You can squawk about whatever you want if the results are there and they're winning football games. But they are 5-9 in this regime. That's just not going to do it. Don't talk smack on your offensive line. Why? That's not a motivator. Anyway, it's very frustrating to see from an outsider's perspective.
He did the same thing with the receiver that he threw that pick 6 to. He blamed it on the receiver doing the wrong thing rather than him throwing the right route. A good quarterback, a leader, would have said that was my bad. Said I picked the wrong read. You're not going to blame a guy out on an island. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Antoine Codes, good to see you, Antoine. KU will lose in Tempe.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think KU's in trouble. I do. I don't know.
They have a soft schedule, but yeah, there is.
They have to travel to Provo. They have to go to ASU. And then I don't know where they have Arizona, if that's at home or not. But those trips, especially the one to Provo, BYU's defense is going to beat you up. That's all I know. That's what we saw at SMU last week. They are tough. They're fast. They're modeled on Utah's defense, straight out of the book. And, something's there. So
they've got some issues here. So UNLV, KU Friday night. UNLV is undefeated, and UNLV could get that G5 spot.
Can you imagine that? UNLV being the first G5 rep? That would be crazy.
But yeah, KU's playing UNLV on Friday night. That team is hot as a pistol. And then KU's going to West Virginia.
That's a tough
going to KU.
Yeah.
They're going to Arizona State. I mean, yeah, it doesn't get any easier from there. So the Jayhawks really need to turn it around.
Lunai Ted corrects us and says no KU game is at home. That's true. They're all playing in Kansas City.
True.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Like Moan, are we blowing this out of proportion with KU? Is this just the Illinois defense that kind of
Yeah,
befuddled?
I think you're not giving enough credit to the Illinois defense. Brett Bielema has built legitimate stars in that defense out of low talent, or, 2-3-star players. Devin Witherspoon is going to probably end up being one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid, defensive back in the NFL here in a year or two. So, Bert knows how to build them. Kansas had some success with the run game, but I think Illinois might be for real this year, and I think they're going to give a lot of teams headaches and a lot of problems. They're probably going to be bowl eligible. I'm not going to say they're going to make it to the playoffs or anything, but I think they'll definitely be bowl eligible, and they're going to give some teams some fits.
Look, I don't know much about Illinois. I'm the first one to admit it. I do know who Bert Bielema is. He's been all over, right? Wisconsin, down in Arkansas and stuff. But you can scheme around one player, that's what I saw. They know what Jalen Daniels can do, and it kind of reminded me of Fafita at Arizona. They knew his, one or two tricks, and they kept him in the pocket.
Yeah,
he stayed in the middle of the field. What I saw in the game what part I watched, which is about a quarter and a half, he couldn't get outside the hash marks unless he was running for his life. No designed rollouts, not a lot of play action. And I just think he knows how to scheme to beat a quarterback. That's his feature, his defense. Yeah, so Illinois might be good, but I think Kansas has got real issues.
Well, they have a new OC this year too.
They do.
They lost
Came
their
from
OC
Baylor.
to Penn State. So
yes. Yeah. And I'm glad he's there, not in Provo. And that's saying something considering who we have now. I don't want either of them. So Keep Chopping says Bert builds tough teams. We were just talking about that. Thank you, Keep Chopping. Illini Ted says, I will say the KU running game had the Illini reeling. The Illini beat them in the backfield. Good observation. Rock Chalk. These are all members, by the way, people. We appreciate all the members being here tonight. Penn State took our OC from last year. Yep, we just spoke about that. Let me get this comment on here really quick. Let's do a reset. Make sure everybody that's watching right now, follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. We're trying to get to 5,000 subs. It's been a little bit slower this month than I'd hoped. So anything you can do if you're new to the channel, just take a second and hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. And maybe even pass us on. Clip the show out and put it out on Twitter. Help us out in the social media part as well. But follow us on YouTube and Twitter, subscribe, and then turn on your notifications. That way you know when we're doing shows and doing events on Twitter. Anyway, all right. Mr. Ed Wayner says, would Professor Wild Ute retire if he had to evaluate a 24-team Big 12? By the way, that's a rumor again, came out of nowhere. Conference each week, 16 seems like a lot. With 20 or 24 teams, Wild sure might miss some teams.
I'll still be doing that.
He would definitely overlook UConn.
I just poor UConn. I don't want them to be the whipping boy. They haven't done anything wrong. Except for take starved money from their football program. Erica Cottle, good to have you, Erica. Another member says, though I have a healthy dislike for BYU, I will congratulate them for surviving SMU. The conference does need as many out-of-conference wins as possible. I guess they'll all go Utes. Okay, Erica.
Go Utes.
It is true. Out-of-conference, the one thing the Big 12 has over everybody else, including the Big 10 and the SEC, is they're united. They want these out-of-conference games to go the conference's way. Everybody is on the same page. They know what needs to happen. Perception. Get that second team into the playoff. Best way to do that is win all your out-of-conference games, right, Ute?
That's absolutely 100% true. And hey, you know what? Sometimes as a Ute, you got to root for the Cougars to win these games outside of conference, right? You got to do it. It's best for the conference. It's best for the Utes. Same thing with the Cougars. I know it's uncomfortable and everything, but we're in a position where we kind of need to lift each other. Out of conference-wise, when you get in a conference, it's all sixes. It's all 500 records.
Could you imagine, and this is the dream scenario, both teams undefeated November 9th?
Oh, my gosh. It'd be too good.
Fabulous. Game day. We got to eat game day. Got to get game day to Salt Lake. Have to do that. Somehow, some way. We need to make that happen. Anyway. Let's see here. Rock Chalk says, I've had my fill of Dion either produce or go to the NFL, I think he is going to go to the NFL.
Yeah,
He doesn't have to worry about recruiting. He doesn't have any of those restrictions. And he's an NFL guy. He wants to go and talk to NFL players. I think the college stuff has worn him out, frankly. Shonsky says we can talk about grading all day. One thing I can say is there isn't a big separation from the Big Ten. That's a question mark. I don't know. The Big Ten powers besides Ohio State are subpar at best. Well, let's just talk about it. How many Big Ten schools are better than the best 2 Big 12 schools? Just say them right now, Mo.
Let's talk about it. I think we had 3 Big 12, Big 10 matchups this weekend. Big 10 is 2. Big 12 won 1. The Big 12 won their 1 on a last-second field goal. So Nebraska seems to be back.
Yeah, I
know
agree.
People don't like saying that. I think Nebraska is very up this year.
Yep.
Michigan is down, but they lost a lot of talent, new coach. Oregon is kind of a mystery. We don't know what's going on there. And Penn State struggled with a MAC team. So I don't know. I think you're going to have to wait and see. Wouldn't declare judgment based on the beginning of the season. Ohio State has looked very good. Chip Kelly's offense, Will Howard is perfect for it. So we'll see. I think Michigan's going to bounce back. You still got USC out there as well.
Yes, that's right.
So I think USC, Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, and possibly Nebraska are all, potential CFP teams the way they're looking right now.
You want to add anything to that?
I think Ohio State probably is in a league of its own from what I've seen.
Right.
And then it gets a little bit more gray. I think Penn State had a tough game this last week, but largely because of the emotion they put in the West Virginia game. That was a huge game starting out week 1. I can give them a break on that. I still think that team's dang good. Look, USC, I'm a Ute fan. I don't like USC. I'm not going to give USC any kudos. I want to see them in the playoffs. We'll crush them. So I'm never going to say USC is ever better than Utah. And then Oregon hasn't looked that good either. So I'm saying like that Utah, K-State tiers right there. Maybe Penn State and Ohio State are a little bit better. But really outside of that, it's pretty sixes.
Yeah, again, we've talked about it before, but the portal, NIL, all this talent spreading out to a bunch of different teams than used to monopolize them for sure. Rock Chalk says they have a very nice student section. I'm not sure he's talking about. Cincinnati blew that game but kept it entertaining. So, yeah, I there's no moral victories, guys. You cannot get up 21 Cincinnati and then lose to a very bad subpar Pitt team. If West Virginia doesn't beat Pitt this week, I will be so upset.
Yeah, I would say this is a Big 12 Mafia show. I will say eat shit, Pitt.
That's fine for me too. I don't care. Kenneth Evans says CFB debates are way more entertaining. Okay, very good. Keep chopping. Pitt week 1 ratings 82,000. Oh my hell! It really 82,000? Not great. Half of those people probably forgot to turn off their TV when cornhole was over on ESPNU. That Pitt Cincinnati game had 82,000 viewers. Is that right? You know what we haven't seen this year? What was that website? What was that website we looked at?
I'll pull up the ratings if you want to share screen on ratings.
Send me the link because I want to have the link so I can go back to it over and over. We haven't used it the last 2 days, and I forgot all about it. So send me the link.
The week 0 and the week 1 ratings just came out actually. So we haven't even week 2 ratings yet.
Okay.
I can send you a link. Do you want me to share screen?
Yeah, go ahead if you want to. But send me a link either way. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'm sharing screen.
82,000 is crazy, if that's true.
Yeah.
That's SMU number.
We're gonna find out right here, right? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that's the website. Right.
Yep. So let's share that.
Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
This is week 0 and 1. So USC, LSU. We knew that had a big rating. We knew Texas A&M, Notre Dame had a big rating. We go down and look at the West Virginia, Penn State, less than 3 million, but you're right there on the cusp. Kind of a bummer, honestly.
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind that had like an hour and a half weather delay in there.
Yeah, that was pretty horrible. Yep, that's true.
It's my understanding this number was posted in the second quarter, though. So it wasn't like, I don't know, like what the ratings and stuff in the middle of a game, if you're going to get a lot more viewers, like a third or fourth quarter. That's not something that I'm aware of. Then you're going down, but let's just go down and look for Pitt.
Yeah, I'm really curious about it.
Oh, there's the 82,000.
That is incredible. Against Kent State, 82,000 people.
Hey, there's UConn and Maryland, though, on FS1 with a big 133. Look, Maryland
Wow.
supported that number right there. There's the mighty Huskies.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
Wow.
yeah, you can look at that all day long. Hey, I'm glad to see this, too. Big Ten, folks, no more cherry picking here. So what Big Ten used to do last year and years before is they would have 2 games on at the same time, and they would double dip the numbers and add them together and give both teams the sum to
the
total.
same number, right?
And now it's throwing both those games and saying, "Oh, the whole shebang got a 594." So no more cheating from you guys. So there you go. There's some of the ratings.
Go to the bottom. I'm just curious to see what the lowest was. 21,000. San Diego State 60. San Jose State sticking. I mean, these Arkansas 129. That's an SEC. Yet I don't care what channel you're on. You gotta have more than 100,000 people watching your football games.
I will defend them a little here. ESPNU for most people is not a basic cable channel. You have to add it on.
Yeah, but if you're an Arkansas booster, you're a fan. You're paying the $10 a month to watch ESPNU on your cable.
That might be true,
provider.
but you're not necessarily in a Nielsen household.
Yeah. Okay.
Were you guys aware that True TV was actually showing football games?
Yes,
it's no longer called True TV. It's Turner Sports.
Yeah, that's the new TNT channel.
I gotcha. So Wazoo, 223 in the CW, not great. Big Ten Network's getting some ratings out there, but yeah, it's always fun to take a look at these. Week 2 is going to be big. We'll see how the Big 12 performed.
Excellent. Yeah, will you send me the link to this so that I have it for next time? That'd be great. We'll keep going. We're going to do this for about another 10 minutes, and then we're going to go for about 5, maybe 10 minutes of news, and then we'll go to Q&A. We're at the top of the hour. Just let everybody know where we're at. If you came in on the show right now, we're currently reviewing all of the data that you put up for the analysis of Big 12, just going through comments and generating some conversation. Amelia says, Moen, that hat is amazing, dude. How about
that?
Thank
you.
Michelle Weintraub says, hey, all good to see you, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Illini Ted says it could have been worse for the Big 12. Oklahoma State and Kansas State easily could have lost. That is true. Right? It is true.
Absolutely. The Big 12 would have flunked as a conference if that would have happened. Ted. That's how bad that would have been.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's see. Cleveland Rock says, Moen, please check your microphone. It sounds like it's muffled.
I tweaked it down a little bit. So.
Excellent. Kenneth Evans says BYU defense looked nice. It did. They just need a quarterback that could, do something. Keep Chopping says BYU looked great. Thank you very much. What do we think about SMU? Everybody had, like you said, the data said SMU was ready to take off. Some crazy people had them winning the ACC. What happened? Was it just BYU's defense was so good?
They're just not as explosive as we thought. And they're very mistake prone. They don't have a home field advantage.
Oh, yeah, that was horrible, by the way. Yeah, that was high school type viewers.
Across the board, they don't really have the talent to compete in the ACC in the top tier.
Okay.
But they're still a good football team. They're still going to have over a 500 record, but they're not an ACC contender.
That FSU SMU game. Could you imagine if Florida State loses that?
There's going to be SMU's just dog shit this year. Only I think just come out and say it.
Way overrated. That's all I can say. From what I saw, I didn't see anything. They have a quarterback that's athletic. Their 5-star quarterback couldn't complete a pass. Not even one completion. He ended up with like minus 65 yards of offense, that poor kid. So they got big issues. It's just like Colorado. You throw a bunch of money at a problem without any organization, without a plan, and you just hope those stars rise up, like Florida State transfers, Florida transfers, Miami transfers. Rock and Rant thought there was a lot of talent that went from Florida and started playing in Dallas for some money, and he was shocked by how disorganized they looked. So I think BYU's defense is really, really good, but I think SMU is just not very good. I think that's probably what I would say. Keep chopping. I don't know. I think Okie State underperformed. Talking about your rating there, Ute.
Yeah, C- seems like a Moen's very firm on the C. So maybe, you can adjust accordingly.
BR says Oklahoma State was definitely a culture win.
Yeah.
Being a Cowboy, that's a good answer. I like that. Iowa State checking in. Nate Simons, thank you so much for being here, Nate. Thank you for being a member. We really appreciate it. We played like crap for 3/4 of the game. It was a great last quarter. I will tell you this: Iowa State overperformed. I thought they played fantastic. I also think that Iowa again has no offense.
Iowa State's the sneaky team that nobody's talking about.
You did.
Because
You've been talking about them.
I've been talking about them, but
Yeah.
they are just well coached. They're physical. Like they've got all the components of being a very strong contender, and they're still flying under the radar, even after this win. Right?
Right.
This is a huge win. Like Iowa's going to be a Big Ten contender still. We all talked about it. They have a pretty soft schedule.
It is true. We went through it game by game. That's true. Yeah. He also follows up and says, thank you for the membership. So thank you very much for being here, Nate. We appreciate you. Timothy Green, Moen, I agree with you 100%. I don't know what that was for. Illini Ted, the eyeball test is different than the Ute test.
100% correct. Yeah, I agree with that.
Timothy Green, 49-14 to a team that won their conference last year. Who are we talking about?
Probably West Virginia versus Albany.
Oh, okay. Well, West Virginia, you got to win this weekend, Timothy. You have to beat Pitt. They are a poor football team.
Do not lose to Pitt.
Yeah, you just can't lose that game. Keep chopping says KSU below average big time. There's concerns. Definitely concerns. Manhattan is on the map. Amelia Ilanol, good to see you here, Amelia. Hey, at Timothy Green, I hope your doctor's appointment went well today. Yeah, that's what we do around here. We lift other people up. Everybody has challenges. You let us know you got a problem. We'll do everything we can to help you. Let's see here. Rock Chalk says, hey, guys, long time no see. It's good to see you, Rock. Timothy Green, Amelia, thank you very much. They actually had me to change medications. I have to do it over a long period of time, and we're going to see if I'm crazy. I don't think you're crazy, Timothy. But thank you very much for your concern. That's really, really cool. Thank you, Amelia. We really, really appreciate it. And then last but not least, we have a $5 super chat from Earl Carr, an OG member in the house, saying A-Rod offense better produce this Saturday, or Sataki may cut ties with him and have Fessy call plays, then bring in Kellen Moore. Thoughts? Yes. Everything you said there, I think, could happen.
Bringing Kellen Moore as like the head coach?
As the OC. He's making, what was it? Like $750,000 or $1 million at Boise right now.
But didn't he play at Boise?
He did.
Yeah, he's an alum.
But money talks, BS walks, and BYU's got money.
I thought he was coaching the NFL.
He was the OC at Dallas and stuff. He was tapped to be a head coach somewhere, but it just didn't work out. So he went back to Boise. I could see this. I think if something happens really, really bad, that there's an excuse to fire A-Rod, he will fire him. I think at this point he's just waiting for an excuse. That's how bad the offense has been for years.
A-Rod's not a good coordinator.
He isn't. You knew that. You knew that years ago.
Yep.
So, anyway, thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, Earl. Thanks for being here. All right, I'm going to get to some news, then we're going to get to the world famous Q&A.
Had to give him his sounder.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, so now let me put up my banner here so we know. Let's get to the news. Where's that at? I know I've got a banner that used to say that. Give me one. There it is, right there. Let's get to the news. Okay, this is 10 minutes. If we had a timer, no one could show the timer, but we don't have one. All right, we're going to just jump into a bunch of tweets that I was tracking news today over the last several days. In fact, I want to make this full screen. Nobody needs to see us. This is a report from Amanda Kristovich. Of course, we always post the links to these tweets, so you guys are welcome to go look at them yourself. Give credit where credit's due. Let me get to my comment. Moen, if you guys will keep flagging comments for me for later, that'd be great. The entire House versus NCAA settlement likely hinges on whether the NCAA is willing to give up on a major NIL collective restriction currently in the proposal. The NCAA now has 3 weeks to decide whether it wants to go to trial and risk bankruptcy. So let's make a prediction right now, guys. Does this happen, or do they go to the trial? Do they settle on the NIL issue, which basically gives away all the NCAA's power, because power follows money? Actually, money follows power. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Moan. Get your thoughts.
I think money humps power. I will say that
What is
this
that
is
even?
this is billable hours are undefeated. I don't know. There's so many peaks and valleys, and this lawsuit's coming out of left field, and then there's this lawsuit, and then this lawyer wants to file an injunction. This attorney general wants to file an injunction. This stuff's going to go on for years.
Well,
get them billable hours up.
Right now it says they got 3 weeks to decide if they're going to go to trial or not. That's the decision.
Yeah.
Do you think they go to trial? That's the question.
They might not have a choice if they don't accept that settlement. They don't really have a choice on whether or not to go to trial.
Well, that is the choice. If they decide to go to trials because they don't settle, I mean, it's
right.
black and white.
Yeah. So if they don't have that settlement, if the judge doesn't accept that settlement in 3 weeks, but now you've got new legal challenges to it as well.
Yeah, we're going to get to those in a second.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
No, the NCAA can't afford to go to trial because they're risking bankruptcy, and they care a lot about staying around and keeping their billion-dollar empire from the NCAA basketball tournament that they milk off of. They want to keep going, so they're going to capitulate on this thing because it's too risky not to. So they will. They'll give. What's the freaking point of the NCAA? Why are we still talking about the NCAA? You know,
I don't know.
It's crazy. These guys just need to go away, and we need to govern ourselves. Quit milking everything. Quit taking $1 billion off the top. Things need to change, and the House settlement, it gets even more convoluted and crazy, and it's so messy. Nobody knows what's going on, and it's just a total cluster.
All right, let me get to the next item then.
Yeah.
This is they're looking for an antitrust exemption. Mitt Winter, always the rock star, following all these reports and articles and things that come out of some of these rulings and judgments. I'm just going to read his title here. Let me bring up, of course, we always post the content so we don't take people's stuff from them. Efforts by the NCAA and others to obtain antitrust exemption. Collective bargaining is the word here, people. And if the proposed House settlement is ever approved by Judge Wilkin, it will still need an antitrust exemption to have any staying power. So let's talk about that one. Antitrust exemption, do they get it? And is collective bargaining going to be right around the corner, or is it the reverse? They're not going to get the exemption, and collective bargaining is going to be years away. What do you guys think?
You know what you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino?
What?
Elephino. An elephino.
That's a dad joke, if there ever was one. All right. Hey, somebody's asking for the milking sound. Let's do that, Moen. Let's get the milking sound.
Well,
They're sucking you, and sucking you.
There we go. We need the
And
music.
you're sick of it. I get
That's
it.
what we need. I love it. That's awesome. All right. Next news item. These are just one after the other today. This is all from today. Let me put this is from Front Office Sports. They know all the business that's related to college sports and pro sports for that matter. Anything that's news, they report it. There's the link. 4 ex-Michigan football players, including Denard Robinson and Braylon Edwards, who I believe are in the NFL right now, are suing the NCAA and Big Ten Network for being denied the opportunity to profit from NIL. The athletes have filed their own class action lawsuit for $50 million. So now what we got the House settlement. We got the other 4 settlements that are sort of associated with it that are nationally recognized. And out of left field comes another one.
And this one was pre-House settlement, correct?
Yeah.
I think that Denard Robinson was before the House settlement cut off.
This is being reported now.
Well, yeah, this is them suing the Big Ten.
This is the actual lawsuit
and
today.
NCAA.
So would Denard Robinson and Braylon Edwards, would they be part of the House settlement, or did they play prior?
No.
They played prior.
So they played prior to the House settlement.
Yes.
So get ready, folks. Get ready for this, because guess what? If I'm a player that was a well-known player, Tim Tebow, you're going to get lawsuits galore.
Reggie Bush. I mean, you could just go down the line. How far back do you go?
The House settlement is such a fail because it doesn't even go back into history, in perpetuity. It's just going to What's the point of the House settlement? The House settlement's it's the biggest fail.
It's nothing without collective bargaining. We said it the
Nothing.
day it was announced.
But like
This
you
is
got to figure out how to
stupid.
settle everything going
They're-
back 100 years in college
Impossible.
football.
It's
Because that's exactly what this is saying. That like we can go back 10, 20, 30, 40 years and stuff, and you can make the claim that you should have profited off your name, image, and likeness.
Isn't this the same thing as the concussion lawsuit, though?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because the concussion thing was billions of dollars, but it covered all these football players, and it went back decades. And it said,
Mhm.
we'll pay for your health care, we'll pay for your, you're 70 years old, we'll help you, with your expenses and healthcare and stuff like that. That's what that settlement, and that was done by the NFL. Yeah, it was painful, but they got it done. That's basically what college football needs right now. They need their own concussion settlement. It's not going to be the House thing.
It's not going to be the House thing. It
I
needs to go
don't think it
farther
is.
back, and it needs
Yeah.
to be like permanently. Like we're going to take care of all the past. We're gonna settle based on everything. So no more lawsuits from the past coming out to bite, and we need a collective bargain for the future. That's eventually where we need to go. Like, can the NCAA withstand that financially?
Right.
I don't think so.
I think
Like,
the
if they go-
NCAA just needs to file bankruptcy.
I agree.
Just go Chapter 7.
Yep.
You can't sue us anymore.
Yep.
And then we'll start fresh.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
And they're going to come up with a new governing body. But hello, who's it going to take care of? It's not going to take care of the little guy. Now we're talking Super League, and now we're down the road, right? This is the linchpin. Immaculate has been saying it for a long time, but really, this House settlement, it's on thin ice right now. When it was announced, I thought there's so many holes in it. The G5 it not being involved, and yet you're putting a cost to them, which is ridiculous. The NIL free floating amounts of money, except we want to control it, meaning the NCAA wants to control who spends the money and where it goes. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's not free market. Do you guys remember, Moen, you might remember the quote from the guy in the 80s that called college football a cartel. Do you remember that? You were young. I remember it. I remember it in the news.
Are you talking about the Boz?
No. I'm talking about there was a guy, in fact, it might have been the 70s. A guy did the analysis and said college football is a cartel.
Yeah,
It runs on its own.
I don't remember that one.
It runs on its own rules. It doesn't have any organization. They just sort of make crap up as they go. Their rules are ad hoc. And now we come 50 years later, and that's where we're at. This is a cartel. How do you control a cartel? You break it up.
You do break it up.
Anyway.
The NCAA is doomed.
Yeah.
NCAA is doomed, guys. Like, and yeah, if they go bankrupt, okay, if they file for Chapter 7, Chapter 11, whatever, and have to restructure, I mean, I still don't know why the NCAA is needed, at least at the highest level of college sports.
I don't think it's needed at football at all.
Sure.
I think no rules, no nothing. Just leave us alone. Go away.
And in basketball.
Well, basketball's the moneymaker.
Football and basketball should be governed by something else other than the NCAA.
I would agree with that.
And that's probably going to happen, right? Based on these suits.
Something's going to change. Either the settlement has to happen, they go to court. Something is going to break this thing loose. All right. This might be the last one. I might have one after this. I got another link I need to go to, but this was big news. Let me post this. This is from University of Washington Athletics. It came out, I believe it was yesterday, and their coach that came from Arizona, I'm spacing his name. What's his name,
Jed Fish.
Jed Fish. They went to him and said, what do you need to win a national championship? And he said, this is what I need. I need $50 million. Yeah. I need $50 million. And the booster said, okay, how are we going to do that? And he said, I don't know, but come up with it. I'll give you $1 million to seed it. So he out of his
Fish
money,
is throwing in $1 million,
$1 million of his own dollars, and said, here we go. Let's do it. He's committed. And now this article, which I post the link to, UW Athletics has launched a Go Big for Washington fund to pave the way for long-term success in the Big Ten. They saw that reporting about Ohio State. They saw that reporting about Miami. They saw that reporting about SMU. And they're like, we don't want to be left behind. We're big time football. They're going to go out and they're going to organize it and build an entire industry just around getting NIL money. I think every big program that wants to compete, the top 48 to 60, whatever we end up with, they're going to have something like this.
$50 million. Are we talking per year?
Well,
the NIL roster?
It's to build the entire organization, and then once it's up and running, then it has to be, maintained in perpetuity. So you'd still have to get boosters every year to put more money in it, but that's the target.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
So I can speak for BYU. I think BYU's down the road on this already because of basketball. I don't think BYU is going to have a problem with this at all. What do you think about Utah?
No, Utah's in for any of it. Yeah, they're going to fund it, whatever it takes.
Do you have an amount in mind that you think they might set as
Utah's NIL payroll is roughly like 10 to 12 million now.
Okay.
And that's per year, right? So
right.
I think then the Big Ten, like with Oregon's payroll said to be in around 30 million.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Approximately 30 million for this team.
Wow.
Like you need to fund at least 15 million, probably 20 million to compete in the Big Ten. And if you funded a $50 million roster, then maybe you'd have a lot of talent. But like you're talking like funding it every year. You're not talking about funding it over like 10 years, 50 million.
No.
You're talking about every year.
Yeah, the best way to do it is get a couple billionaires together, put $200 million in it, and then just have it sit there, gaining interest, and then it just sort of takes care of itself. I'm not sure 20 or 30 or even $50 million is enough. To be perfectly honest.
There's no cap on it. So it's basically
no.
When you're like Ohio State, if you can get you're like the Yankees, just spend whatever you want as long as you get the boosters paying for it.
Here we go. This is over 5 years. Fish wants to raise $300 million. That's That's where I got the $50 million from, by the way. Can you believe that?
Massive.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. When I saw that article, I'm like, this report should have been leading the news on every sports channel this week. This is a big deal because it's setting the paradigm that if Washington, who a lot of people in the past have looked at Washington and they're a regional power. Yeah, they've got national championships, but they're sort of out there on the edge. If they're doing this and it's out in the open and announced, I just think that's incredible to me.
So you've got like around 85 scholarship players on a football team.
Right.
You're talking like based on what Daniel's saying, based on what you're saying, like Washington's goal is raising $60 million per year. And if that goes to the players, like you're talking about almost $1 million per player on average, like around $800,000 per player.
I don't think it's a straight line between those two things, though. I think some players are going to get more than others. Some players might not get, but and then they also have things like, do you want to hire a special coach? Do you want to hire so they have to have money go to other things.
And this is going to things other than just football too. That's
true. There's
all
other
of UW's athletics.
That's right. But football being the main moneymaker,
sure,
right? So they would get a majority of the money. But yeah, I agree. Softball's big at UW. They have good basketball programs. There's a bunch of sports. Olympic sports they're very good at. So I'm just saying right now, if this is the number, the reason I brought this up and the reason I've got the smartest people in the world watching us right now is I'm trying to set the paradigm. The paradigm is if you want to play big-time college football, you're going to have to fund at a minimum that $23 million, which is currently allowed from the school, and then you're going to have to come up with a whole other swath of money that is just for maintaining the programs that you've got. Hundreds of millions of dollars. How many programs, honestly, in the country can do that? I don't know that you get to 50.
40 or 50.
Yeah, right. We could probably do a list. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely something we're going to keep track of. I came across that. I posted the link. I recommend you guys go and look at it. It is really amazing. And then was this last one? No, I won't do that tonight. Okay, let's get to the world famous Q&A. You guys want to do that?
Whoop whoop.
Let's do that. Let me, Moen, give us a couple sounders, would you please, while I work on some stuff here?
You want to put the phone number up?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Let's do that.
Explain the phone number up.
Explain to everybody what that is.
It's a phone number. You call it and you can talk to us on the phone.
There you go.
I think everybody's got that down right by now, but
okay. Well, I'm glad.
It might
I like
work.
to announce things every show. You never know who you're talking to.
It might work. It might not work, but I think I've got it figured out. It's taken me 20 hours to figure out this phone system. I've got 15 different settings I have to move through to do this, but our phone system should work. You want to? I'm going to change your banner here, Nathan.
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah, leave our phone number up on there.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, if anybody wants to call now. You should be able to hear all three of us through the phone, through the power of Imagineering.
Imagineering. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't work, it's definitely Moen's fault. That's all I can say. Okay, I'm just going to get straight to comments. As everybody knows, the comments work. We have about 30 minutes or so. All super chats we read. We defer to member comments. We've already been flagging them as the show's been going. So we already got a bunch that are stored up, but keep those comments coming. We might pull it in. And then we invite you. This is interactive now. We got this phone number that works. Let's use it. So you don't have to. You never know. Somebody might want to use the link on the show, but if you don't want to do that, just click on that and call us. No picture, no nothing, and be part of the conversation. In the meantime, I'm going to start getting to some more of the comments that we flagged. All right, here we go. Sergeant Pickles says, "Call me a hater, but Iowa looks good enough to go 7-9 wins yet again." Moen?
I disagree. I think their defense is taking a step back. Their offense is not taking a step forward. 7 wins might be generous. 7 wins might be baseline. I can't see them winning 9.
Ute?
I see them winning 8 or 9 with the soft schedule that they have.
Okay, all right. Shonsky, another member, says Iowa will not get to the CFP until they move on from their head coach. Moen?
I agree 100%.
I think it's going to get better at Iowa when Kirk leaves. That's the question. It's kind of like when Whittingham leaves, are things going to get better at Utah? There's a lot of shade that goes Whittingham's way because you haven't won big time games. Is life going to really be better? I don't know. Like at Iowa, I would say probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe you might have the opportunity, but it's not likely. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Iowa's in kind of one of those positions where they've got that legendary coach that's been there decades. How do you get rid of him? He's ingrained into the community.
I think you have to push him out the door. You have to get a hold of him and say, Kirk, if you really love this team, it's time for you to go. We'll build a statue for you someday, but we just can't. We can't keep you on board with this in this environment. I just don't think he's cut out for modern college football.
Okay, most of those guys are leaving. Sean Skis again said, more is the excuse. Get A-Rod out of there. Yeah, we don't need to belabor that. Mr. Ed Wayner says, Kellen Moore is the OC for the Philadelphia Eagles. I apologize. I said he was up at Boise State. He's the OC at the Eagles. He did get interviewed for some professional coaching jobs. I know that. The head coach. He was with the Chargers and the Cowboys as the OC. It's not a joke, them trying to bring him to – that was a rumor that actually has legs. That's all I know. I'm not saying they're going to get him, but I know people have ideas. Keep Choppin says, Ferencz really wanted to protect a lead for an entire half, come back and got him.
Yeah.
That game was a 1-point spread, guys. Like going into the game, it was Vegas had as a 1-point line. Like, don't nail Iowa because they lost that game. Like, it was supposed to be like that. They are who we think they are. They're going to like that.
But we can nail Iowa for this because there was a busted play where an Iowa State wide receiver got behind all 4 DBs on the field for Iowa and ran for like a 70-yard touchdown. So that's got to fall on Iowa. That's a 7-point swing.
I mean, you have to pass a responsibility on somewhere, right? I mean, it's not just a free run. So, yeah, I agree with you guys. Antoine Codes, what's all this Iowa talk? Iowa is not going to be a Big Ten contender if they don't get a QB confident enough to complete a forward pass.
Well, they need to get receivers, too. They need an entire offense.
Sounds to me like the team is...
The only thing they can get there is an offensive line.
Okay. College, no, that's you, Moen. Saying Friends needs to go. There we go. Steve, Ohio, Florida. Good to see you, Steve. It's actually on True under the banner of TNT Sports. Warner Brothers owns all entities. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you much.
Appreciate the clarification. Really appreciate it. Amelia Islandol says, hey, have to go, guys. Great show. Have an awesome night. Thanks for being here, Amelia. We really appreciate you. And I'll let you know if I'm going to do a show tomorrow night or not. Sergeant Pickles, Sling TV, $70, and you get every single conference network. Only other games I will need is Peacock. So Sergeant Pickles has been frozen out as a UW fan. Very difficult to watch the West Coast Big Ten schools.
Yeah, sounds par for the course.
YouTube TV. YouTube TV is my favorite. You can record every single game every week. You just tell it to record NCAA football. You get to watch 4 games at once. It's nice. And then when one goes to commercial, you can just highlight the other one and listen to that.
All right, very good. Cleveland Rocks, Braylon Edwards was a terrible receiver for the Browns drafted. Looks like he spent all his money, needs more. Yeah, well,
yeah.
Obviously.
It's amazing that washed-out Michigan players are the one filing suit. Like Braylon Edwards and Denard Robinson are worth $50 million. Come on.
I think, look, Ute said it, though. There's not a cap. They're just going to come out of the woodwork. Everybody's going to sue for something. It's free money at this point.
Perfect. This sums it up right here.
Yeah.
4 horsemen.
4 horsemen heirs will sue. Wow. That's going back a ways. The Gipper. Timothy Green, I think the NCAA is just about wrapped up.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, we do too. To Town Hawk says, Devil's Advocate, Fish announces ridiculous numbers so he has a built-in excuse for not winning immediately. That's jaded. Wow, that's really coming in from left field. What do you guys think about that sort of sly working? Giving up $1 million, it's not like he gave like $10,000 or something.
Yeah, but listen, he's a state employee. That's going to come right out of his paycheck. It's going to reduce his taxes.
Oh,
that's
well, in Washington, that's true too.
Yeah.
Washington's a huge tax state. Yeah.
So.
Okay. You want to add anything to that?
Nope.
Okay. Cleveland Rocks, wait until the university spends millions on one person and the player is a complete bust. Welcome, Deshaun Watson.
I think SMU's running into this boat. This is SMU.
This is Notre Dame and Florida State. This is Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Riley Leonard allegedly got $1.5 million to transfer to Notre Dame last year. And he was absolute dog crap in that game against Northern Illinois. DJU, Marvin Jones Jr., all the defensive people they paid for Florida State couldn't stop the run against Boston College and Georgia Tech. I'm just saying, if I've paid that kind of money, this is a problem with it, I think. This is a problem with the sport. You can't take that money away from them.
No, of course
not. You paid
not.
somebody $1.5 million and they play like dog crap. Guess what? You're out $1.5 million.
So what's the ratio going to be from Cam Ward, who is an all-star, to a Riley Leonard? Is it going to be a 1-4, 1-5? What's the ratio from the hits to the misses? DJU has been probably the worst of all of the free agents. I don't even think you can argue that it's even close to what Riley Leonard was. DJU has been a complete disaster.
Yeah, but I give him a little leeway because that defense for Florida State has been paid significantly to get all those transfers in. And they have been absolute dog crap on the defensive line. They have let everybody. I mean, Boston
but he can't
College
hit anybody.
I understand that, but it even if he could hit somebody, it doesn't help when your defense is allowing, 30 points to Boston College.
What do you think the ratio is?
It's a coin flip. 50-50.
Okay.
It's a 50-50 coin flip because you have some indication of the play from the
Right.
previous college, and you're just not doing a lot of. Maybe I don't know. Like maybe they try to recruit him out of high school and everything, but still, it seems like it's a 50-50 hit. Just look at Florida State. It worked, and now it's not.
Yeah. Will Howard. Yeah, Rashada. Yeah, I mean, there's it's just coast to coast, right? All these players went for money, play 1 year, and then they all want to be heroes in the NFL. But how many are actually going to get drafted? That's really what it's going to come down to. They have to perform that senior year to get drafted in the NFL.
No doubt.
That's true, but you got to remember for college towns like Ohio State, if Will Howard wins a national championship, he never needs to worry about money again.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
he
there's
can
no
get a
doubt
job
about
at
it.
a car dealership, just like Greg Krenzel got a degree in molecular genetics. Ended up working at a car dealership.
Yeah,
Made way more money at a car dealership.
Sergeant Pickle says KSU, Arizona, and Backyard Brawl are must-see this weekend. I would say the Civil War. I would say the Apple Cup, Backyard Brawl, the KSU, Arizona game.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably 6 or 7. I mean, no, our list has like 10 games in it, didn't it? Didn't we have to take a couple of good ones off?
We had to
list?
take a couple off. So
Right.
I think we have Oklahoma Tulane in there. We've got Notre Dame Purdue in there. That's going to be a big game. That's a rivalry game.
You know what we didn't do? We messed up on. We didn't start with our picks from Friday.
Well,
Do
we
you
don't
have
have
that
everybody.
graphic?
I don't have that graphic yet.
Okay, yeah.
So
So every Tuesday to start the show, that's what I'd like to do if we can.
we've got Alabama, Wisconsin on the schedule. Boston
This
College
week.
at Mizzou.
I'm talking about
This
last
week.
week's.
Yeah,
I'm talking about last week.
I'm giving the names, the games we have on the schedule.
Okay, all right.
We also have Arizona State at Texas State, which I think is a compelling
That's a trap
matchup.
game.
What's the line to that game?
I don't know, but that's a trap game. That
It's 2.5.
Arizona
Arizona
State,
State is favored by 2.5 right now.
that is a trap game. Absolutely trap game.
Unbelievable.
Antoine Codes, Washington is hard. By the way, if you're watching this show, 40 people watching us live, the phone number's right down there at the bottom, guys. Call us. Tell us what you're thinking. Moen spent like 9,000 hours to get the thing working. Let's start using it. Appreciate everybody being here. I know you're not all mute because we've had you on before. Let's call that and let's talk. All right, let's see here. Antoine Coates, Washington has hired just as many bad coaches as USC has had over the past years. They should have more national titles. I will say this, Washington is a farm, for coaches, is a farm school for USC. They just come to Washington and they end up going to California. So it's tough when you can get outpaid by $2 million to go to California. It's hard to not chase that money.
That's what USC does, though. They do that.
Oh, for sure.
Not just Washington. Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's see here. Kalani, good to have you here. Thousands of schools at the FCS Division II and Division III level that want and would support the NCAA existing. Yeah, because they need it. Division I doesn't need it.
You nailed it. Yeah, the NCAA serves a purpose for Division II FCS, Division III. But that's all funded by the Power Four. All the money from the Power Four, from the basketball tournament, is coming to the NCAA to pay for all the expenses of everybody else. So, yeah, like that, they all need that governance and everything, but it's not really Utah being in like the Power Four, Ohio State, BYU shouldn't be responsible in losing out funds to fund some Division II program.
Agreed.
Sorry, guys. That's just how I see it. That's how basically league is going to go too. It's like you find your own, make your own resources and own governance there, because the NCAA is illegal. It's an illegal business right there. They didn't pay players for years. They should have been paying them for the NIL portion, preventing that. So, hey, the courts have ruled against it, and like it needs to blow up.
Well, we got a call.
We do. Bring it in. Let's go. Since we can't hear it.
There you go. Can you guys hear it? Stormy Cyclone, you're on the line.
No, we can't hear. Can you
Hold
hear
on.
it?
They can't hear you yet. You can hear them, but they can't hear you. Hold on. Let me see.
okay.
Here.
Technical
working on
difficulties
it
we can
here.
work around. That's all right.
Stormy.
On a different note, my Seahawks defense is lit.
The Seahawks.
Number 1 in the NFL for efficiency. They're going to win some games. That's all I'm saying. San
Yeah,
Francisco
you can hear them. They can't hear you. I'm trying to figure that part out. See, I got one solution. Every time I come up with a solution, I develop another problem here. But we will figure this out. What did you want to say, Stormy Cyclone?
Is that what we're talking about? People are starting to watch that debate.
Yeah, I don't know if Notre Dame loses to Purdue, if Wisconsin upsets Alabama. I mean, there's definitely some upsets on the horizon.
Mm-hmm. We got to figure out the phone system for later mode. Yep, because we can't hear anything you guys are talking about, so we need to.
We'll keep working on it. Thank you, Stormy.
With the, schedule. I mean, there's got to be a line somewhere. I mean, 3 losses. Do they get in yet?
It depends on the 3 losses.
Who?
I mean, I don't know how this is all. I don't know if any team ends up not losing a game. Maybe Georgia and Ohio State. I don't know, but I just wondered how far they're going to go with this Notre Dame deal before they just say, if you're going to play a conference schedule to, go through that rigmarole and, every week just a battle, and instead of just picking and choosing some teams, that aren't that great at times, you know what I mean? But maybe USC will shut the door on them. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I really had. That was my question is just the Notre Dame, but I just wanted to make sure give you some. Nobody was calling in. I just thought I'd call in.
I appreciate it. You helped us. You helped us debug the phone system here. You can hear you and Nate, right?
Yes,
I can hear them. Yeah, just talking in the background, kind of. But I kind of got some harvest stuff going on here, and I probably won't be able to call in. Probably won't even be able to chat. And I just want to get that done before I start harvest. So
yeah, well, be careful.
Good luck
on that
with
harvest,
everything.
I know that's a dangerous, dangerous job. So be careful, and we'll see you after harvest time.
All right, thank you guys.
See you, Stormy.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Cyclone. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so there's a delay. Right. We're hearing reverb back.
You are.
Now we're not. Well, now
we
we
probably
are.
fixed that, but you were able to hear him. He was able to hear you.
Good. Okay.
Okay. So the other stuff I can probably fix with the equalizer.
Okay.
But, hey, I just want to give myself a round of applause for getting that worked out.
Thanks, Nolan. Yeah, just so you know, you and I can hear ourselves back.
You can hear yourself back.
Yeah,
okay.
it's feeding back into the phone.
We can figure that out. That should be easy.
All right. We're going to do a last comment. I'm not sure I can do this hearing myself.
Oh, can you hear yourself now? Hold on.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Maybe not now. No, it's gone.
We're good.
Okay.
All right, let's buzz through these last comments. We're up against a debate that nobody's really listening to us anymore. So quickly, let's get through these. Earl Carr says, Amelia Islandol, hey girl, how are you doing? Good to see you. Michael Smith says, Washington, wait until Stanford hears about this and starts shaking the big tree. Everybody's been waiting on Stanford for decades. They have probably the biggest pool, and yeah. Stormy
They don't care about football. They don't care about football. They never will. Yeah. Their reign is over.
Stormy Cyclone, Big 10 and Big 12 After Dark. Love it. He likes After Dark. I think After Dark.
Big 10 After Dark is now canon. Chilled. They officially referred to it as Big 10 After Dark.
I hate it.
It exists.
I hate it.
Nice. There you go.
I hate it. Antoine Coates, Washington has always had big money. Oregon has Phil Knight. Washington has more benefactors. Okay. Skaven, yes, at work, can't call. Thank you anyway, Skaven, for listening. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Stormy Cyclone for helping us debug.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Shiloh Sanders to miss 2-3 weeks with a forearm injury. Yeah, he busted it busted his forearm. Yeah, I have no good comments to say about Shiloh. To Town Hawk says KU by 30 over UNLV. I would be shocked.
Ooh.
I would be
I
shocked.
don't
What's the
think
line
so.
on that right now? Do we know the line on that game?
I will find out. Give
Okay.
your
Yeah,
thoughts
I
on
don't
the
have
game.
that spread.
Yeah, just give me the point spread. Skaven, yes. Alabama, Wisconsin. That's definitely a game that we have on our list. Yes. Let's see. Moen's comment at Cleveland Rocks. Rumor is Riley Leonard got $1.5 million from Notre Dame. Sounds about right. Sounds about par. For most of the DJU got $1.5 million. So I think it's pretty par for the course. Did we find out the
We sure
split?
did.
What is it?
Right now, it opened at 7.5 for KU. It's a home game at the soccer stadium in KC. But the spread has dipped down to 7 points. So opened at 7.5. Now it's at 7. So
Okay.
the money's gone on UNLV so far. FBI has it. KU winning 74% of the time this game.
That's again trap game. That's just like that Texas State game. I'm scared of those things. Wyoming's another one. Big 12's got to quit playing these away games. I don't care if they play them, but you got to play them at home. Can't be playing at Wyoming.
Yeah, Ryan, are you asking for the phone number? You're saying please say the number.
We're leaving. We're getting off right now.
Okay, we're gonna jump off, Ryan, but I will post it in the chat. On phone, can't see scroll. Okay.
Does Ryan want to say something really quick? We could get him on if he wants to say something.
Yeah,
really
we can get you on here. Let me.
I'm gonna jump on.
Yeah, don't. We'll give Ryan a few minutes if he wants to hop on now.
The phone number here, Ryan, is 801-899-6203. Go ahead and call us about the Badgers in Alabama this week.
Let's do it.
You better tell us that Wisconsin's gonna win the freaking game versus Alabama. Ryan, we want you to call it and just blast Bama. It's your time to shine. Get it done. Get it done.
So you guys have no echo right now, right?
Nah.
We're good.
Okay. We're going to see if this works.
No echo. I forgot about the debate tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Who's debating?
President.
Kansas State, Arizona?
Yeah, I wish. I would watch that.
Wild Ute ratings. Talk about football.
BYU's up to a 2.7% chance to make the playoff.
Wow.
I know, right? Utah's 18.
Call from
Evo Badger.
Yes.
All right, Ryan, you're on the air. Go ahead and tell us what you think.
So here's what I am hoping will happen Saturday between Wisconsin and Alabama. I'm hoping that the Badgers will at least beat Bama by a field goal. I predicted 31-28 with PATC. So I'm sticking with that score for Saturday.
Okay, you think the Wisconsin offense has enough juice to actually get to 31 points against the Alabama defense?
Well, I'm hoping that Lago can get something out of his butt to actually get the offense going.
Well, that would be surprising. I've been disappointed in him so far this season.
I'm on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let me ask you this, Ryan. Is there enough?
Because of what Mordecai couldn't do last year and now TBD this year, I think he's a problem.
Well, they don't have a quarterback, that's for sure.
I'm not sure he can hear us, Mullen.
But I'm just hoping that Wisconsin can score and actually, I hope that O-line can actually move some people around so we have a running game, unlike last week.
Yeah, hopefully so. Can you hear us, Ryan?
I can hear Moen.
Hold on a second, Ryan. Let me try this. Now, this might bring the echo back, but try now, guys.
The implied probability for this game, Ryan. So, like looking at the betting lines, is Alabama 34,
What are they
Wisconsin
asking?
17.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead,
can't hear.
Ute. Say it again. He's having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, 34-17. Alabama over Wisconsin based on the betting lines. What do you think about that?
Too much. I don't bet real money. So
Well, I'm taking Wisconsin with the picks because of the 15.5 points. So I'd like to see Wisconsin win. Hey, they had an upset over LSU not too many years ago. Number 4 LSU.
well, they almost beat them in the bowl last year.
Yeah.
And then the refs got involved.
Yeah, so Wisconsin does have a history of doing pretty well with the SEC.
Yes, they do.
All right, Ryan, anything else you want to talk about while you're on the air?
No, I just want to give you my pick for Saturday.
Okay, well, with that, I will say on Wisconsin. Nate and you got to say on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin. Big Fick. I hope you guys win, Ryan.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
So do I.
Bye-bye now.
All right, bye. Thank you.
It's great to have him on.
Okay. Now, were you guys getting reverb again?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah.
How about now? Is your reverb still there?
I don't know. No, yes, it is.
Okay. How about now?
No.
You fixed it.
Okay.
I think he has to turn it on or off. I don't think he's got it working where it's both. All right. Jason Spangler got here at the very last minute. Good to see you, Jason. Saying gang, good to have you here. Appreciate it. We are finishing our show. Okay, Moen, last words as we go into the rest of this week into our Friday, Big Freaking Friday show. What should people be looking for?
For this week, that's a great question. What should people be looking for? You know what you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino?
Oh, geez.
Hell if I know.
All right. So much for deep thoughts from Moen.
It's Arizona K-State. That is the game of the week.
Okay.
Or perhaps Bama, Wisconsin. If Wisconsin can give Bama a game, I think everybody in our communities is going to be rooting for that. I mean, really, like that. If Wisconsin beats Alabama, we're going to be stoked.
Yes.
Celebrate it big time on these channels and everything. So would love to see it. But for in the Big 12 communities, it's all about Arizona versus K-State. That is the game. It's going to determine really who's the big contender there. And the Cats are a 7-point favorite. The Wildcats for K-State are the 7-point favorite, not the Arizona Wildcats. So that is the game to pay attention to is Arizona, K-State. It's on Friday night. Friday night game, Friday night football. A little bit weird, but still, that's the one.
I would just tell everybody continue to make sure you're following all of us on Twitter and you're tracking us on our shows on YouTube, because the news that I like to get into between weekend games is related to all other college football stuff. So make sure you're following us all on Twitter. SEC versus Big Ten, root against both teams. That's what Steve Moser says. Okay. So that's what I would say, Track, as we get into this weekend. There are big games. We'll tell you about those on Friday. Other than that, I think we're good. Do you want to say anything else, you guys?
I just want to bring up this comment real quick. The evil badger will be a drunk badger.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to be drinking in celebration or drinking from the pain, but he will be drunk.
I hope he's drinking in celebration, Ryan. I really want this for you, my man.
Just be safe. That's all I'm saying. Everybody have a great week. Stay out of trouble, and watch my Twitter feed tomorrow. I'll tell you whether I'm going to do a show or not. Other than that, everybody have a great night. Stay out of trouble. Ute, Moen, let's get out of here. Peace.